This segment was not actually the intended kickoff for the video, but before I kick off this video, I just felt it was very necessary to mention that when I cover the brief on this, on the old 6.7 Mustang, I just feel that it's very important to acknowledge a good friend of mine, Bob Moran. If it wasn't for him, this car may have still been sitting in pieces in my garage. I was at a point in my life I didn't think that I had the budget to do this, get it back on the road after it sat for so many years, and we sat down one day at garage night and he just said, hey, take a couple hours an evening, take 5 bolts and a fender off, or, well, the fenders were already off, but you get the drift, and you're 5 bolts further along than what you were 15 years ago. If it wasn't for him, this car would not be as far along as it is, because he taught me, unlike in previous times, quit looking at the big picture and make short milestones, short list, make that milestone, go to the next one. And when I started looking at the car that way, and we restored it from front to back, bottom to top, it became easier to get that game plan in place and follow it. So anyways, I needed to acknowledge that. I really wanted to thank him for his friendship, his encouragement, and the part that he played in getting me back on the road with my first car. Now we will start our video. I hope you enjoy. Good morning from Florida, and it's beautiful because, one, it's overcast. That means we're not spontaneously combusting in the open sun today. And instead of 153,000 degrees in the shade, it's only about 150, with only about 93.5% humidity instead of 1,000%. So that means we're not dying, and we won't be well done by the end of the video. Anywho, enough about the beautiful Florida weather. The old 6.7, been featured on the channel on some mechanical videos, how-tos, roof console, vacuum leak, and has also been featured in some of the car show videos that I've done. So just what is the old 6.7? Why is it special to me? Because this is my first car. I've bought it from my father. It was a father-son project, and on August 27th of 1990, my birthday, I had already went out, got a job part-time after high school, and was making money enough that I put a down payment on this the day I turned 16 and got my license, and I have had it ever since. 35 years, my high school car, and I still own it. Not many people can say that. Wasn't always on the road. It did unfortunately become one of those cars that sat after we drove it for many, many years, up until about 2007, and then it sat for a while until about 5 years ago. We got it back on the road with the help of some really good friends of mine. It's been a community project. But anyways, yeah, 35 years, the old 6.7. It's been through a couple renditions, and I'm gonna feature it in a history of the car, and of course the redo, the refresh on it this last time, which was pretty, wasn't a blown out full restoration, but it was a pretty extensive refresh. So anyways, let me cut to the chase, and I'll walk you through the rig and introduce you to the old 6.7. So up front, we'll see a 1967 plate. That is a Manatee County plate, which was graciously sold to me. It was the last one a friend of mine owned, Kelly Lanford, and it was his last 15- plate. So I had a couple others from Escambia County and Lake County, but now I finally have one for Manatee County, which is where we reside. This car used to be vintage burgundy metallic, and now it's this Pontiac flame red. I was going for a different color, very similar to this. It was a 4-color, but for some reason I couldn't get that color at the time. We'll cover that more in another reel. She is sitting on American Racing Torque Thrust 2s with Tiger Paw tires. This paint job is about 21 to 22 years old, believe it or not. She's got Flowmaster 40s for exhaust, dual exhaust on it. The interior is fairly stock. It's actually supposed to be factory black interior. It's supposed to be frost turquoise on the outside. It was not that when my dad got it. But it's fairly original. It's a non-AC car. It is now an automatic car, and was an automatic car when we got it. But at some point in time, someone switched out the factory 3-speed manual and put in a 1970 C4 transmission. Now you see there's a little bit of wear and tear in the driver's seat. The interior, with the exception of the passenger seat cover, is almost 30 years old. We replaced this, my dad and I, one of the first things we did when we got the car, because it did have a roasted interior, a few other things. We did a lot of cosmetic upgrades, mechanical upgrades to it. I haven't spent the money. I actually do have the covers for the seats, because the new covers on the passenger seat, it's not the best. You could tell a difference. Me and my wife did that one car show many years ago, and after fighting with the hog rings and the lack thereof, because we gave up and almost divorced, we decided not to tackle the interior any further. Rear seat looks really good, but we're actually going to be upgrading these seats to probably Pro Touring 2s from Distinctive Industries, because it'll be better on her back, be better on my back, be a lot more comfortable. They're not as expensive as the TCIs, but we don't want the really bolstered seats, so we're going to go with a little more classical look with a lumbar support. But anyways, so instead of spending the money on recovering, we're going to get those seats, and then yeah, that's the next one coming up. Eventually we will put air in it, but not right now. Of course, under the hood is the business end of the vehicle, of any vehicle, as Derek Berry calls it, the power barn. So this is an original 289 V8 car with a 3-speed manual. Now, when we got it, it already had a 65 289 two-barrel in it, and of course the 70 C4 transmission with the stock rear end. Now since then, we went to rebuild the 289 when we went to do this last refresh. Found out it was bored 40 over. We just did not know that. Engine specs were, were not given to us. We just knew it was rebuilt prior to us getting it. I went 120,000 miles on the car, so I would assume it was rebuilt, because it was primarily trouble-free. So we went to rebuild the motor, found out it was junk. That was devastating until a friend of mine, Richard Bacon, told me about where his old engine was. It only had 10 miles on it, and I picked this engine up. We'll have to tell the story about that in another video, because I like to keep my videos as short as possible, so it doesn't take up half of your day. But this is a 68 Cougar 302 with a modern cam in it, so it does have the 5.0, the newer firing order. But she purrs like a kitten in most cases. We'll fire it up here in just a minute so you can hear it. But yeah, this is a great running engine. I got this aluminum radiator, finally spent for that. Best upgrade I did for the car, because it runs nice and cool now. So no overheating problems even in traffic. As I said before, Flowmaster 40s on it, dual exhaust. It sounds really good. I love the sound of this car. It's had multiple exhaust systems on it over the 35 years, but I do believe that this is going to be my favorite and will remain on the car until probably I'm long gone. The rear end was switched out. I broke it. Nothing fancy. Wasn't racing or anything. Just pulled away from the stop sign. The center pinion just broke loose, ring gear. So we ended up putting another 8-inch in here, but it's got a 355 posi, and that's now what's underneath the rear end. So anyways, and we topped it off with a Alpine stereo and some 6x9s and 6s up front. I do not have an amp other than what's in the radio, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. Rockville audio speakers, I can't say enough about them. That Alpine got a great deal. I do have other speakers that will probably go on one of these other cars. And I have a subwoofer and an amp. I'm going to be building a box to put that in the trunk soon. But I almost don't think it's necessary. This stereo has bass and it has decibels, so I don't even know if it's necessary. And I've never said that about a stereo before. I've always had subwoofers. So anywho. And finally, we'll round out on the trunk. Now, most of the time, I'm not impressed by trunks, and I don't blame anybody who isn't. But I've tried to do a few mild upgrades. We put some black carpet in the back here just to kind of give the floor a little nicer look. And, of course, we got the required show car, gear here, you know, towels for rain, a blanket for the dog, the board that explains the car, cleaning kit, rags, chairs with a table for your cooler. That's bare minimum. If you're not carrying this and your own shade, you may not be show carring at your optimal level. Just saying. Anyways, decided to I actually got this idea from Richard Bacon. He's a cabinet maker extraordinaire, and I by far don't even I don't think I'm good enough to even sweep his floors. But anyways, I took some just cheap wood and we built a frame, and I built 2 covers. These are on magnets, so they just go against the frame. If I need to tear this box out real quick, I could just pop these covers off, pull the frame. We're done. We're in. I mean, seconds. But we needed some place to hold something. We all know these trunks, they are what they are. So we covered this in fox leather and marine vinyl in red, and now this is where my tools, California dusters, air pump, work blankets, fender covers, any parts that we all know go and leave you stranded at the worst possible moment in a car show 450 miles away from home are in here. And that is now my storage compartment. Cheap and easy, took a little time, never done one before. There it is. Some people said I did a great job, and I really do appreciate the compliments that I've gotten at the car shows, but it is extremely, if I tore this apart and you look at how I put it together, you'd be like, oh my. But you know what? It works. It's functional. And that was the goal. When it's at the shows, it's closed up, nobody sees it. So yeah. Well, I do hope that you enjoyed the tour of the old 6.7 here. I'm proud of it. It's my first car. It is not a fully restored car, just to be a disclaimer, but it is a daily driver quality that shows extremely well. Does it have a few problems? Of course it does. Is it probably in better shape than most daily drivers? It probably is, but by far I will never claim it to be a restored car. She was built to show, but she was also built to drive, which I drive the wheels off of it. So we really enjoy it. Now I know you've seen in the background a couple times that we also have a 59 Caddy, which was a running car until recently. I'll cover that on a future episode, because that one's really special too. Completely original, and was bought brand new by a family in this community that founded a business that is here today since 1957. That was bought in Miami in 1959. We'll get into that on another video. And then one last car that you're probably seen in the background is my wife's 54 Pontiac Starcheap. We will cover that in a future episode as well. Another fully original car. Now, where the Caddy was a driving car until real recently, this bad boy was a driving car. The previous owner brought all 3 of his kids home from the hospital in this vehicle. However, it was sitting in the back of a barn for a while. The motor does run. We've actually got the motor to run, and it's quiet as a mouse. So no valve train problems at least, but there's a ton of other stuff. So everything that I probably went through on the 67 with new brakes, fuel systems, suspension, things like that of that nature is probably going to happen here. Now it's got a few extra problems. You might already see that, a few dents, a minor scratch on the windshield, but again, we'll go through all that, and we have an action plan for that one. So anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I love bringing this stuff to you guys and furthering the car culture, and I hope that you guys enjoy watching it, and you have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the streets. No,